I kind of think of Shelley as like the Justice League. Everyone talks about, Brindley Cannon, but they're kind of like the Justice League. They just have a nice set of characters that back them up.
When it comes to high school sports, East Idaho never gets its due.
I ran into Jeremy Hess, the AD of Grace Luther, and, he was just excited. And then, I'm just talking to him, and then he goes, we have 7 girls. So just amazing.
But the East Idaho Prepcast has changed that, covering the biggest sports stories from Salmon all the way down to Bear Lake.
And again, Grace is always that team just kind of lurking, like, yeah, there's Grace. They, they don't have social media, but you know what? They have footballs, they got grass, and they got pads, and they use all those very well.
It's the East Idaho Prepcast with Sean Kane on IdahoSports.com.
That's right. Welcome to another edition of the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com, breaking down the top stories from Districts 5 and 6 of Idaho high school athletics. I'm Joel Richardson. Let's bring in our East Idaho expert and insider. Well, I guess we're not going to bring him in quite yet. But hey, you can catch the show on IdahoSports.com's YouTube channel, Facebook page, or X account. And of course, you can listen to the show wherever you get your podcasts. And on the IdahoSports.com website. Folks, it was a great week and a lot going on. Obviously, we had the state, we had football, and we had swimming. But before we can get into all of that, we got to bring in our East Idaho expert and insider, Sean Kane. And there were some technical difficulties, but we're going to try to bring him in just a little bit. A lot of great stories to go around. And while I'm trying to bring in Sean Kane, you know what? It's after dark, everyone. It's 8:48. It's a late night, but here he is, alive and in person. Sean Kane, we did it. I delayed long enough to get you in, Sean, but
I know they tried to silence me last night. They don't want me to talk. I get it. Good job kicking. Semi-final weeks for football, and everyone's going to be going for one of these, a championship ring. Let's get it going. I'm here. Can't silence me that long, guys. Sean Kane's back.
Dude, I honestly don't know what happened. Suddenly you left the screen to bring you in. And I don't think I kicked you, but maybe I did. Last week it was my internet connection that was the problem, and maybe it's something else as well on my end, Sean. Hey, with this the East Idaho Prepcast, Sean, where we want you to talk the entire time. I tried to talk for 30 seconds and it all fell apart.
No problem. I got it. We got all kinds of good stuff to talk about in East Idaho this evening. It's the After Dark edition now of East Idaho's Prepcast, and it only gets better. It gets a little spicier, and we just got a lot. We got a lot to go over today, so let's do it.
We do, but first, Sam Buffington, technical difficulties. Yeah, we're really just trying to keep Sean from praising East Idaho too much, which actually can never be a problem. Never a problem. So yeah, they were. I don't know what happened, but technical difficulties. Sean, we had some great matchups from East Idaho football teams from swimming. First, we got to award our Player of the Week and team. Spoiler alert: it's going to be Teams of the Week, Sean. But first, let's hit our Player of the Week, Tyson Sweetwood, the junior Hillcrest QB. Why is he our Player of the Week?
Why? Well, the stat that stood out to me that he was 17 for 20 in the game. There's a lot of great players this weekend. We could have went a bunch of different ways, but I feel like, Sweetwood is just having a really, really good season and been one of the best quarterbacks. I just don't think he gets a ton of credit out there. And I kind of wanted to showcase him this week, 17 for 20, 230 yards, 2 TDs, Larson, the running back, also had a couple TDs. He was phenomenal as well. I mean, either one of those guys are good. I just wanted to give Sweetwood some sweet love tonight. A lot of good players, from East Idaho, some good players from Skyline as well. But, let's give Sweetwood a little credit tonight. I think it's well deserved, and someone who has just, I feel like everyone talks about all these other quarterbacks, we'll hear about Rigby's quarterback and, just a lot of quarterbacks. And you just don't hear a lot about Sweetwood. And he's had a phenomenal season. And and they're in the semifinals with a chance to
Yep.
play for the state championship. Second place last year, the Hillcrest Knights. So, congratulations to Tyson Sweetwood.
And, as a quarterback just on the season, he's at 60 or so completion percentage. The dude's got 12 rushing touchdowns, though, Sean, 19 passing touchdowns. Like you said, he's having a good season. We just haven't given Hillcrest a lot of credit because they started out a little bit slow, right? They got beat by Skyline. There were some calls there for sure, right? But as we learned this past weekend, you got to keep playing despite the bad calls, right, Sean?
Well, yeah, definitely.
They started out a little bit slow, but they've continued. They've won games that they're supposed to win, and now here they are in the semifinals. And that's behind Tyson Sweetwood's quarterback play.
Yeah, and also a big shout out, right? This game is going to be broadcast on IdahoSports.com, video, multiple camera angles, multiple people. Scott Burton, Lance Taylor are going to be on the call. Could have been me and you. I don't know. They wanted to go a different direction, but it'll be phenomenal. So this game is really going to showcase Idaho sports. We've done this for the Gem State games of the week, and it's been phenomenal. So that's another reason. It's a great matchup against Lakeland. Lakeland's played well. They rushed the ball really well. Hillcrest defense has been very tough. I see this game being very, very good, and that's why we went Sweetwood. I always have a plan, Joel.
Yeah, I love it. So Tyson Sweetwood is our East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com. Get a player of the week. Team of the week, Sean, is going to come from the 3A ranks. This is football again, 3A ranks. But Sean, it ain't just one team from the 3A ranks. It's the 4 East Idaho teams in the semis, dude. Declo, Firth, Aberdeen, and Westside, all 4 teams from East Idaho in the 3A ranks playing in the semifinals.
Yeah, and I said the earliest Prepcast possible we start talking about football, I made the bold prediction someone from East Idaho in 3A was going to win, and someone will, no matter what. No matter how any of these games go, all 4 of these teams are in the semifinal, and they've been the top teams all year, really. Declo, Firth, Aberdeen, Westside. Let's not forget Ryrie, who played with Westside pretty well last week
and scored a lot of points on Westside, by the way.
Yeah, Ryrie had a phenomenal season as well, and hats off to them. But just so many teams in 3A. We had to go 3A East Idaho football as our teams of the week. These games are going to be incredible, and Firth with a big win coming in. Both these matchups I just think are phenomenal. Do not ask me to pick Aberdeen and Westside again, Joel. I forgot to put that in our pregame notes. Don't ask me, because I was thinking about today. I'm like, is someone going to ask me who's going to win this game? That's why I didn't go on Tuesday. That's the reason I didn't want to have to pick a team there. No, not really. But yeah, both games are going to be phenomenal. And like I said, no matter what, that blue trophy is coming home to East Idaho in 3A football.
And for those who aren't sure, who are like, wait, all teams are from East Idaho, because we did mention, right, and in that 3A bracket from the Southeast Idaho Conference, Sean, which is technically East Idaho, there is a team who is maybe more from Magic Valley. That's Declo, right?
Yeah.
But Declo has joined the SEIC of 3A, so we're claiming Declo as our own.
Well, they had to play all these teams, right? Aberdeen, Westside, they all went back and forth through the year. It's only made them better, I think, as a team and as a conference as a whole. Basically your whole conference makes it to the semifinals. I don't know what more you want. You want to play the best teams week in and week out and see where you're at, be battle tested. All 4 of these teams are battle tested. For sure, coming out of the East Idaho districts.
Yeah. Hey, look, we got some more comments coming in, Sean. This is from Brandon Walton, Everly's Kit Kat Toys. Evening, gentlemen. Brandon Walton here. Sean, he's got a question for you. Okay, ready for this one? Who's going to win, Sean? Aberdeen or Westside? LOL.
Put me on the spot. You know what? I'm going to
prediction time.
Oh, man, Westside won by 2 points in the previous game, and it basically came down to Aberdeen not converting on 2-point conversions.
Right. They were right there.
Joel's been doing a lot of Aberdeen games as of late, but I picked against Westside when they played the first time, and I was wrong. And when it comes to playoff football and experience and things like that, I have to go you had to, make me pick, I'm going to pick West Side, and that's no shot to Aberdeen or anything, or Lupe Ortiz and the phenomenal job that program Tigers have been out of the cage all year. But I would pick West Side if you had to pick it. This is who has the ball last game.
Yep, right.
Really in my books.
Right. No, it's a tough call, man. I don't know. Tyson Moser, though, he's been around so long. He's got to have something up his sleeve for West Side, and if nothing else, just getting your boys prepared, right? And he's a phenomenal coach. I think I heard on the Gem State Game Day broadcast last night on IdahoSports.com. And if you missed it, folks, we're not going to get into a ton of football tonight. If you want more football, go to the Gem State Game Day on IdahoSports.com's YouTube channel, Facebook page, X account, or on IdahoSports.com's website, and you can catch it all there. But someone did mention they had to play against, Moser, Moser's West Side Pirates once, right? And it's like, it's impossible to beat that guy. so yeah, it's hard to count out Tyson Moser and his West Side Pirates. You went for West Side, and for the record, Brandon Walton also is going for West Side. And hey, I'm going to go for Aberdeen just because, because why not? We need another Aberdeen person. I have now broadcast weeks. And Aberdeen's really good. But I think West Side has enough defense to hold Lupe Ortiz, to hold Shackelford. But I would be amiss if I didn't pick Aberdeen because I've seen them play and they play really well. But yeah, West Side beat them in the regular season, and it's hard to beat the same team twice. We'll see if Aberdeen can pull it off. Sean, those are those four teams that we're giving our team of the week. Any other comments about the games that are coming up this weekend for any four of those teams?
Man, no, not really. I think Declo Firth is going to be very, got Vasquez quarterback at Firth. You have Declo, if you can score on him, you might have a chance to win kind of team. It's kind of an offense versus defense. If Firth can get ahead early in this game, I like their chances. If it's a grinded out game, I don't know how you don't go for Declo, because that's all they've done all year is grind out wins against tough opponents. So again, Firth's got to get out ahead and have a chance to win that game. I think if it's just a close game and it's just not much between the trenches for either team, you got Declo's probably the favorite there.
Yeah, I think they are. I mean, Vasquez is a good quarterback. Rangel had a good game with a rush touchdown. But yeah, Declo is so good at grinding out wins. And I think you're right. I think if Firth doesn't score first, I think that's game. But you never know. We'll see what Firth can pull out. I think Declo is the better team on that one. So who knows? Maybe it'll be a Declo West Side. Obviously, they've all played each other in the regular season. So either way, it's a rematch, whether it's Declo West Side or Declo Aberdeen, or maybe Firth. But yeah, look for Declo to win that game. We'll do more East Idaho playoff football in a little bit, Sean, but those are our players of the week: Tyson Sweetwood, and teams of the week: Declo, Firth, Aberdeen, West Side. Congrats to the East Idaho 3A East Idaho football. They're killing it on the gridiron. Sean, before we get into more football, we gotta give a lot of love to state swimming. Man, state swimming was last weekend, and we actually have some times, we have some placements, and we had a lot of East Idaho swimmers who swam and teams who swam exceptionally well. I mean, we have to say it though. North Idaho and Treasure Valley, Magic Valley too. Everyone really but East Idaho won, it seemed, especially North Idaho and Treasure Valley. I think it was Lakeland who swept in 5A boys. Sandpoint who swept both in 5A boys and girls. So that was just one example of North Idaho, Treasure Valley really dominating in the swimming pool. But despite not having many pools out here in East Idaho, the teams played pretty well. Let's go through some of the results. Let's start with girls 6A, Sean. Madison got they swam to a number 8 placement. Highland was right behind him with number 9. But we had a good swimmer in senior Emily Meyer from Madison. She placed 3rd in the 200 IM, which is Again, when you're playing against those swimming against those North Idaho Treasure Valley teams, that's pretty tough. On the boys' end for 6A, Madison placed 10th. And then junior Taylor Polson, we talked about him last week. He got third in the 100 back and in the 200 IM.
Yeah, a good job. Madison took a lot of swimmers. Highland had a few. Thunder Ridge also took swimmers, and they didn't place quite as high, but real competitive in the mix, and some individuals that were near the top. Again, it's tough against some of those teams in that 6A 6A classification for swimming. It's hard. It's not calm waters. You're against some tough swimmers, but to go out and compete, they did a phenomenal job. They weren't last.
Right.
They made some progress, and you just kind of see that's what you see. I think in the 6A division from the swimming standpoint, East Idaho, you've seen progress. Kind of seen where they were kind of at the bottom. They've had people win, but now we're getting more of teams that are competing and getting into that top 10 range, right? Madison
Right.
at 8 in girls and 10 in boys. You're in that top 10, so you're breaking in there. It's a few more maybe years of building the program and culture.
Definitely. And if you continue to have people moving to East Idaho, especially from out of state where maybe swimming's more prevalent, then you're going to keep moving up those ranks. And then, hey, let's go down to 5A. So, well, congrats to those 6A boys and girls who swam so well. And then let's go down to 5A. And again, the swimming was done out in Treasure Valley at the I think it was the YMCA in West Ada. Well, with the West Ada YMCA. 5A girls. We had the girls in 5A. They did really quite well. They tied Wood River, Idaho Falls tied Wood River, Sean, for second overall in swimming. So they took the silver, if you will, if this is Olympics, right? The team overall. And then Skyline placed fifth, Sean. So talking about breaking into that top 10, they broke into the top 5.
Yeah, Idaho Falls isn't far removed from winning some state championships in swimming. Always a phenomenal program, does a great job. The girls slam really well. I mean, you're points wise, they're pretty close as well too. Like,
right.
You have a few more people. You're gonna break into that, but they did well. IF's was first. So state championship in the medley relay. Abby Balsameyer got third in the 200 IM.
Yeah.
Junior IF Grims, we talked about her, was first in the 100 fly, first in the 100 back, so she's got 2 gold medals. And Skyline's Julia Daniel third in the 100 back, and IF's Amy Hunsicker third in the 100 breaststroke. So that a lot of people placing. Sam Point, who was the winners out of just a few more, but definitely just a phenomenal showing by Idaho Falls. And all those athletes there in District 6 are basically swimming at the YMCA in Idaho Falls. That's the only pool. So, they all know each other. Swimming's a little more group-esque between the schools, because it's not like you're at your gym hanging out with your team. You're at the one pool, everyone's swimming, and a lot of cheering, a lot of good sportsmanship in that swimming.
Yeah, definitely. Another comment here from Brandon Walton. The Grimes siblings were incredible this weekend for Idaho Falls. He's mentioning Mahealani Grimes. She's only a junior, but he's also referring to, I think it's Ranji Grimes. He's a freshman. He's a freshman boys swimmer for IF. Sean, he was first in the 50 free and first in the 100 free. The dude, though, broke 2 state records, 5A state records, 21.65 in the 50 free, 47.87 in the 100 free. Sean, I swam in California. Those times are fast even for California. And this dude's a freshman.
Yeah, I mean, what a breakout for a freshman, but he's got 3 more years.
Yeah.
Is he going to break his record? What other races he's going to win? And obviously, when you have someone like that in your lineup, that's going to help in your relays, right? And a lot of times these come down to if you qualify in enough relays and get points through relays, because it's a total point system. But I mean, that's a great lead into Skyline third and Pocatello in fourth. So, and it was a little closer in boys, right? Sam Point had 178 points, Idaho Falls 149, Skyline 114, Pocatello really close at 112. But East Idaho right there doing a phenomenal job. in that men's swimming 5.
Yeah, definitely. And then one more thought from comment from Brandon Walton. Runji is only a freshman with 2 state records, right? It's actually pronounced Runji. I had to ask the mom. Thanks,
Oh, okay.
Brandon, for that pronunciation. So it's Runji Grimes, and then his sister Mahealani Grimes. Again, she was first 100 fly, first 100 back, and then Runji says, "Hey, watch this. I'm just a freshman." State records in the 50 and 100. Super, super impressive. And Sean, like you said, Idaho Falls goes second, Skyline third, and Pokey fourth. I haven't mentioned Century, Sean, your school where you work at, but Century freshman Deacon Major, Sean, he was second in the IM by 14 100ths. I think that's what it is, 14 100ths of a second, and then third in the 100 back. So this freshman was that close to getting first in the 200 IM, which, dude, for a freshman swimming 8 laps and 2 of those laps are butterfly and having to be solid in each, that's really impressive for Deacon Major. And actually, I was reading out these times to my son. He's a 7th grader, and he's like, "I know Deacon Major. That dude is ripped." so there's a freshman swimmer swimming for Century, and he's a pretty good swimmer. A 200 M as a freshman.
Yeah, he had a phenomenal season. He swam well all year. You know, they posted on their Instagram and stuff how he did such a phenomenal job. And yeah, he's a freshman. He'll be back. He'll be able to do big things, and he'll definitely go along in those little prings on the sweatshirt, right? That you win the race, you get the little thing on your sweatshirt. So he's gonna have full sweatshirts going forward for the next 3 years.
Right on. A couple other placements, and then we'll move on. But we had Sean, I think you mentioned this. Skyline got third in the medley relay, and then in the 200 to 500 yard free. So this is more long distance swimming. Senior Elias Couch from Skyline, then senior from Pokey, Sean, went 1, 2, and 3. Pretty cool from East Idaho to have the more long distance swims. It's almost as if we have a couple lakes, and a couple reservoirs in our backyard to just swim forever. I wonder if those more long distance swims maybe more tailored to more of the East Idaho vibe.
Well, we're always really good in cross country, and then the 800, 600 East Idaho. So, maybe the altitude, maybe the different things were just built a little different, and obviously can perform well in those long distance type races.
Yeah, for sure. So I thought that was pretty cool. And then Hillcrest senior Adam Allred got second in the 100 free. I think he won districts last free relay. Hillcrest and then Hillcrest senior Adam Allred again, second in the 100 breaststroke. So a lot of times, Sean, you'll have freestylers, right? And they're just like, they're the 50 and they're in the 100 freestylers, and that's what they do. But it's pretty cool when you have a backstroker who also does breaststroke, and they're both real, and a swimmer is really good at both those. That's pretty unique. So the fact that Adam Allred was second in the 100 free and then second in the 100 breaststroke is honestly pretty unique. And then IF and Pokey go 1 and 2 in the 400 free relay. That means each swimmer is swimming 4 laps instead of just 2 laps for the 4x100 free relay. This is the 4x400. And that's basically it. And finally, Sean, Skyline, the academic state champ. So not only good swimmers in the pool, but getting good grades in the classroom, which is always super impressive.
Yeah, just a phenomenal job. I think, again, you just see that progression. I just saw in the newspaper, the Iowa State Journal, that Reed Jim's pool is now back open.
It is.
So hopefully that will help. It just becomes, how many places can you go swim and practice? And swimming's such a tough sport. Like, if you just go and try, you think you can just swim forever. Like, you think it's easy. It's not. It's not easy. It takes incredible endurance and strength, and you've just got to keep practicing. So I'm really excited to see where a lot of these, a lot of these are underclassmen and where they're going to progress to next year as we build in East Idaho swimming. But congrats to all those teams that finished on the podium, got some gold, got some silver, maybe a little bronze in there as well.
Yeah, for sure. And you mentioned this. We have sophomores, juniors, freshmen, not a lot of seniors, as you noticed in those top tier placing in the top. So we'll be seeing a lot more swimming, I believe, from East Idaho in the next few years. Sean, buckle up, man. We're going to have swimming all the time next fall. And then with the opening of the new pool or of the refurbished pool at ISU, the teams down here in Pocatello, where you and I live, Sean, Pocatello, Century, Highland, they should be getting more pool time. Swimming reminds me a lot of hockey, right? You got to get the ice time. You got to get the pool time. And there's only one hockey rink, right? And so it's just so hard to practice. And swimming, very similar, like you already mentioned.
Yeah, I couldn't agree with you more.
Yeah. So Sean, soccer is done. Volleyball is done. Cross country is done. Swimming is done. Football, man. We football is, we are in the semifinals. Next week are the finals. Let's go over some of the surprise results from football this last weekend, and then the intriguing matchups. We already hit a lot of 3A, but or all of 3A. But let's hit 6A. Sean, Madison loses the Eagle in a super tough fight. A bit of I don't know if it's a heartbreaker is the right word, but Madison had such a strong season, but they end up going down and losing the Eagle 22-16. Sean, this was tough because Madison led by 2 scores right before halftime, but then the Eagle scores before halftime to keep the game in range. And after that, Madison tries to hold on, but Eagle, thanks to Noah Burnham, I think that's a great running back. They get him going, and Eagle comes back and wins that game. Madison is done for the season.
Yeah, it's tough. Like I'm broadcasting with Lance Taylor. We're doing Tri-Valley Rockland and getting the updates on this game. I'm like, Madison's winning, and and Lance is like, no, just joking. But I had picked Madison to come away with this game. A lot of people weren't picking Madison, I don't think. I mean, really, because I wanted to see Madison Coeur d'Alene. I'll be honest with you, that was a matchup I wanted to see. But credit to Eagle. Eagle stuck with it. Madison led pretty much the whole game, and Eagle came back, and Madison scored early, and then kind of the offense just kind of shut. Didn't really get anything going much in the second half. I think that kind of led to their demise. But hats off to Madison. One of the best seasons they've had in a long time. A lot of seniors on that team, but a lot of building for the program moving forward. So congrats to Bobcats, and what do you win, Eagle? You win a trip to Coeur d'Alene, right? To play Coeur d'Alene. So that will be, I think, definitely a tough matchup for Eagles, and so Madison, good job, but you got to win the game.
Yep. No, and really, this is less of a downer, more of a celebration of Madison, right, Sean? They had a really good season, and people they quietly kept winning. We said this last week on the East Side of Prepcast and on the Gem State Game Day, but you and I have both been high on Madison because they've continued to win. They beat Highland. They got close to Rigby. Rigby took away. They got close to Rigby, we'll just say. But besides Rigby, they won the games they were supposed to win. They beat Skyline, top team in 5A, a top team in Idaho football. And so Chandler Rhodes has got to be excited about the trajectory of this football team. They have a lot of seniors, but they got some solid underclassmen who are coming up. This team is going to be good for a few years to come.
Yeah, and they got the experience, right? They got in playoffs. They had to try, they got that taste, which, they've made it. I think it was a couple of years since they were in the playoffs. They got that taste. They're in there. The younger classmen, have that taste of it, know what it takes, know that, the season's so long, football's so long, it starts way back in August, and, it's still going. And you those things you have to learn. If you're a team that isn't in the playoffs all the time, you don't know that. You don't know what that's on your body, what that takes mentally, physically, school, trimesters, semesters are ending, things like that all come into account. And when you get that experience, you have something to build on, and you have guys that know now, and they can tell the younger guys next year, like, no, we got to do it this way. And all that stuff happens just, by winning a playoff game, making it to the next round. Winning does a lot of things, and that's what Madison did, is they won a lot of games.
They did. They finished the season 9-2, Sean. I'd forgotten that. They also played a tough schedule. They beat Hillcrest. They beat Skyline by 1. They beat a good Blackfoot team. They blanked a good Blackfoot team. They lost to Rigby 21-35. That's nothing to shake your head at. They beat Minnetonka Machine himself. They beat Highland 42-7, beat Capital 42-7, and they lost to Eagle by 6, 16-22. So if you're a Madison fan, Madison player, coach, listen to us, send a shout out to your team. Be proud of your team. What a great season Madison Bobcats football had. Looking forward to more of that in the next few years. So that's Madison Eagle, Sean. And then we had Firth Grangeville. This was a close game. We have already mentioned Firth a little bit tonight, but we got to talk about this game, Sean. Firth defeats Grangeville, the champion of their conference. So they got that. They got that bye. Firth goes to Grangeville and beats them 15-14.
Yeah, it kind of is like it was not a comfortable game for either team, right? It just wasn't comfortable. And I love that Garrett Nelson, the lineman, rushed for the 2-point conversion. I love
cool.
that. I love that. And they talked about this on the North Idaho Prepcast, that there's no easy way to Grangeville, and the easiest way to come back from Grangeville is with a win, and that's what Firth did. And Firth has been good. It's just so many good teams in 3A. Firth has the players. Ringel, who's the running back, was great last year too. Covered a game. He's no slouch. They have a lot of good players. They get overshadowed, I think, a little bit just because of the depth of 3A football in East Idaho. But Firth, that's a big win. That's a signature win. And Firth's not too long removed from winning championships and playing West Side in 1-point championship games. So congrats to Firth. Congrats to Grangeville. They had a great season as well. And that Declo Firth game this weekend should be phenomenal. Yeah,
I'm looking forward to seeing what Rigo Vasquez and his son, the quarterback Vasquez, can do against this Declo team. Declo defense, they're so tough, man. I don't know how many rushing yards Firth is going to have in the end, but I'm excited to see what the Vasquez family can do to see if they can move the ball, get into the end zone against the Declo team. Congrats to Firth for beating Grangeville. That's a huge accomplishment, going up to Grangeville, defeating them, coming back 15-14. But unfortunately, their reward is playing a very good Declo team. But looking forward to that first Declo game, no doubt. Well, Sean, those are kind of big surprises, the Madison Eagle Firth Grangeville games. And one was a pleasant surprise for us, one was a bummer. But really, two good performances by two East Idaho teams. Let's look at these intriguing matchups for East Idaho. Again, the Gem State game day went into super deep detail, but we want to go maybe a little bit further if we can, Sean.
Well, they didn't have me, so it was
exactly
all right.
Into the East Idaho teams, right? So let's do Rigby Rocky. We'll hit Skyline Minnetonka. We already talked about Hillcrest Lakeland, or we talked about Hillcrest a little bit. And we'll do Sugar Kimberly, and we already did Aberdeen Westside, and maybe we'll hit Butte Hagerman if there's some time. But let's hit Rigby Rocky, Sean. This one's going to be very interesting. Rigby has been so good all year long. The only game they lost was that first game of the season against Coeur d'Alene. And again, first games of the season, you never know what's going to happen. Rigby, Sean, is loaded with weapons. Obviously, you have QB Jake Flowers, running backs Jersey Duenas, and of course Amani Morel, who caught a passing touchdown, by the way, Sean, last week. Rigby's been tested, right? Their schedule shows it. They're used to playing on the road. I think they had 2 regular season home games, and then they've had a third one since the playoffs. Last game, Jake Flowers, I wanted to say Brandon Flowers from the Killers. Jake Flowers threw 4 touchdowns, or had 4 touchdowns total, 3 passing, 1 rushing. Rigby's really good. They have a lot of weapons. But Rocky, everyone's been celebrating Rocky, but Rocky hasn't played anyone. Sean, what do you do here?
I mean, I'll be honest. I feel like the SIC was not as strong as it has been in years past, but I'm not going to take any spotlight off Rocky. Rocky Mountain 2 is also a team that has a bunch of weapons, a bunch of athletes. And yeah, maybe they haven't played that hard of a schedule, but every game they've been consistently good. They put up 45 points a game, and they've, on an average have only given up 9.7. So regardless of who they played, they've been good. They've been efficient. They run the ball. They can sling the ball. They've got, they've got all the ingredients to make a great pasta, right? But Rigby's kind of like, you go to Olive Garden for the pasta, but everyone loves the salad and breadsticks, right? You don't stop eating it. And that's, and Rigby, man, they've just gotten better. Like that first breadstick's good, but that second breadstick, maybe in a little Alfredo, even better. And then a little more salad. Rigby has just gotten better and better. Flowers, I think, has just played into this role much better as the season's gone on. They have so many weapons too. Like I've said before on this program, Rigby could run the ball every down, try and stop them, right? But they don't have to. They have Flowers. They can throw the ball. So to me, this feels like the state championship game, even though it's a semifinal.
Right. And Coeur d'Alene would have something to say about that, right?
Yeah. And Coeur d'Alene's beaten Rigby. They've got a lot to stand on too. But just for a semifinal matchup, it's phenomenal. But let's not forget, Rigby has time and time again went into the Boise Valley and beaten teams. Like that one last second drive, Tiger Adolfo against Meridian. They've went in and they found ways to win these games in Boise. And I have a hard time believing it's not going to happen again. But again, like to me, Rocky, I just don't get pushed, where, they're up against the wall, I haven't. So it'll be like, does it matter though? Does Rocky just come out and they're good and that's it? They don't need to be tested because they're that good? Could be. Or has Rigby played so many hard games and got themselves in a position where they're like, you're going to knock us in the chin, but we're going to come back. So that's kind of what I see. And, a hard game to pick, but I like Rigby going forward.
Right on. Well, so does Amelia Lugo, our resident Rigby fan. Go Rigby, she says. And if you are out there watching on Facebook, YouTube, X, send us a shout out. Send your favorite team player a shout out, including and just like Amelia Lugo did, saying go Rigby Trojans. Rigby would love to go into Rocky Mountain and get that win. It's going to be really tough. But yeah, I like Rigby's chances for sure. I think this is going to be an awesome match. One of the best, honestly, one of the best in a while for 6A. Two Titans going in and seeing, who gets the last laugh. Going to be a great. And remember, Rocky, and this was mentioned by Ryan Skaggs during the Gem State Game Day show. Rocky did completely just demolish a top 2, top 3 Washington school. So, the discourse is Rocky hasn't played anyone, but they were able to beat that Washington school handily. And like you said, Sean, they don't give a lot of points.
Not that they haven't played anyone, just not that they haven't been tested is what I would like. They've played good teams.
Okay.
They've just never had their backs against the wall.
Yeah.
This year. And how do you and how do you respond to that if it happens? Maybe it doesn't. Maybe Rocky just, takes care of business. But when when your back's up against the wall and it's been so easy for you through the course, can you go through that? And Rocky has the complement of players that definitely can, but Rigby is also battle tested and not going to make it easy no matter how it goes down.
Yeah, for sure. So looking forward to that one. Good luck to Rigby from East Idaho. This is the East Idaho Prepcast. So good luck to Rigby in the game this weekend against Rocky. We're cheering for you, although I am cheering for Rocky's punter, who happens to be my nephew. And far. All right, let's go to Skyline Minico, Sean. This one is going to be, we got East Idaho against Magic Valley. Minico is Preston Sonner Cranny, going to see if he can run up against that Skyline defense led by Kason Smith.
Yeah, what a just intriguing matchup. And first of all, Minico taking care of Bishop Kelly in overtime.
Yeah,
congratulations.
what a triple overtime.
Triple overtime. Bishop Kelly hadn't lost a 4A team in 2 years now, or what? I don't know. Maybe it was longer. And Minico had
4 and 5A teams, right?
Yeah, Minico had lost to BK, I think, a number of times. And so Minico, takes that next step, and Trinkle at quarterback doing a great job, and, so many good things. Skyline again, just, you did that game. I don't know if Skyline was even really tested by Twin Falls. I felt like it was close for a little bit, but not really. So it's really a matchup of, I think, Skyline's defense, if they can shut down, because I don't know if Minico can throw the ball enough if they're behind. Right. If Minico can run the ball, it's a game. If the defense of Skyline shuts down their majority weapon, their majority shares of the program, right, that running game, can Minico throw the ball enough? Have they even thrown the ball enough to, have to go down that road? I find that to be very hard. And and then you can say Minico can control the ball with running, but Skyline doesn't really need the ball. They're really a 1-2-3 punch score, 1-2-3 score. They don't do a ton of big drives where they're holding the ball for a ton of minutes. I think they can, but they're all about scoring. And then the matchup you got to be looking for is Kason Smith against that running game. He had 4 sacks last week against Twin Falls. He's got a sack in the game against Nampa and a pick 6. And lining up there on the end or wherever he lines up, is he going to be the guy tackling the 3-name banger guy from Minico?
Preston Sonner Cranny.
Yeah, Cranny. Is he going to be the guy to stop him? I mean, that's you talk about these kind of one-on-one matchups, and that one to me is just one on you want to go see the game just for that.
Yeah, for sure. And watch for Skyline's linebackers, Sean. They've done a good job. Lincoln Searle, Bennett Southwick, he had a pick 6 last week. And then not Ledger Searle. Well, who was the other linebacker? I know Bennett Southwick, Lincoln Searle. I can't remember the other backer. Oh, Sawyer Davis. Anyway, those backers have been doing a great job for Skyline, keeping everything in front of them. And sometimes they pop out into the secondary. And like what happened with Bennett Southwick, he got that pick 6 last week against Twin Falls. Twin Falls did a good job early on in the game containing Skyline. I don't know, especially on the edges. Skyline was having a hard time getting stuff going, but the problem is Skyline has enough athletes, Sean, that they just keep going. Like, honestly, it's a lot of the same play, and they use those edges. They use those out routes very well. And then, of course, there's a lot of misdirection, a lot of eye candy in the backfield. And it just works, man. Honestly, I don't know how it works. It's a lot of their blocking. A lot of their block schemes work phenomenally. Can Minico get out to the edges, get out to the flats, and contain their playmakers? I don't know if they can, but it's very intriguing to see to see what's going to happen there. And then also, can they can Skyline, can their linebackers clog that middle and keep Preston Sonner Cranny from getting 5-6 yards? Because that's basically what he averages every game.
A touchdown a play. No, but but think about this. Skyline 9-2, Minico 9-2. Minico puts up 32, gives up 12. Skyline puts up 34, gives up 13. They couldn't be any closer in how they get things done and how they play defense and how they score. I do think Minico has a hot hand coming in beating BK, where I don't know if a lot of people, would have said they picked Minico to win that game, right? A lot of, Tyler Robbins, the offensive coordinator of Century Football, he picks them all. He prints them all the brackets out and picks them, and I always go and check and see what he put down. And
oh, nice.
He did not pick Minico, and he's the Twin Falls guy. Like he's from that area, and and so Minico, the hot hand, kind of playing with house money. Skyline, I think, is the pressure is kind of on them now. I wouldn't say they've looked great in these first 2 playoff games. Like Nampa, they took care of business easily, but a bunch of interceptions.
It was slow going there for a while.
Twin Falls, it was, kind of looked like Twin Falls, but the one thing Skyline has done consistently is their defense. I think we talk about Crockett, Garcia, Liam Lint. We talk about a lot of their offense player, but their defense has been super consistent wherever they've played, wherever they've gone. And let me tell you, Skyline loves playing in the ICCU Dome. It's their home field in the playoffs. They've probably played more games there than any other high school team that's, not from Pocatello before they went to their own fields. But yeah, it should be a good one. And it's hard to discredit a hot Minico team right now.
Yeah, definitely. We talk about this, right? This is some of the off, not off field, but some of the culture or some of the kind of mental stuff. In this case, Minico might be peaking at the right time. And if that's the case, watch out, Skyline. We got a comment coming in. This is from our 6A conversation. I hope your nephew gets to punt a lot on Friday. Go Rigby.
That's the comment of the year.
I love it.
I hope he punts.
Well, you know what? I hope he gets a lot of opportunities too, and I hope he does the best. And that's all I'll say about that. The best he can. That's a great comment. Thanks, Timothy Giesler. Go Rigby. And I hope he gets opportunities to punt as well. And even if it's just one, I hope he punts it well. Okay, so that's Skyline Minico. Going to be another great matchup. Anything else from Hillcrest and Lakeland? We already talked about Tyson Sweetwood, this Hillcrest Lakeland game. Anything else you want to mention there for that one, Sean?
No, just tune in IdahoSports.com. It's going to be the game of the week with all the different camera angles, probably some interviews, things. It's going to be a good one at the new, Hillcrest Stadium, right? It's gotten a lot of use in its first year. So, it should be a good one. Again, I'm going to go Hillcrest there because we're kind of like just picking these off the cuff here. I'm going to go Hillcrest here, despite my good friend Skaggs up north. He loves some Lakeland Hawks. I think it's a good game. I talked to, another fan of the program, Jeb Harrison, about it too. And, a couple other people, but I still went, I think I said, I kind of picked Hillcrest by 2 scores. So there you go. That's all.
I like it. Ryan Skaggs does such a good job, and he does such a good job praising all those North Idaho teams because it's kind of like East Idaho. We don't get a lot of love. I think North Idaho gets less love than East Idaho. Just in this is my 3rd year doing this in my experience. So I just love how much love he has for those schools, how much praise he has, and how much he knows about those players at each school, players, coaches, and their traditions. But yeah, in this case, I'm going Hillcrest. I think it'll be closer than 2 scores. I hope it's not closer than 2 scores. I hope Hillcrest mops the floor with Lakeland. But yeah, I'm going with Hillcrest as well. And then, Sean, we got a rematch from the regular season. We're going on to 4A now. Sugar Kimberly. Again, last time these teams played, it was the shot heard around Idaho, if you will, when everyone got the score back that Kimberly had defeated Sugar 17-14. It was massive. Sugar hadn't lost in 2 or 3 years. And after that Kimberly game, Sugar turned around and lost again. Kimberly started Sugar on a 2-game losing streak.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm almost positive Sugar is more excited about this matchup than Kimberly. I'm 100%. Sugar, is probably as soon as the bracket came out and they could, do some Brandon bracketology and figure out that this might happen. The Snake River game last weekend, me and Lance Taylor broadcast that, and Sugar has done nothing but got better. McNelly in the backfield, Gardner, the quarterback. They also have another quarterback who comes in, Fillmore, who does a little wildcat, does some stuff. The defense is just pouncing everywhere, and they have so many different guys that can touch the ball and do things that it makes it very difficult. Baldwin, another good a receiver who also runs it. He's kind of like a Zane Crockett from Skyline, if you will, but Skyline or Sugar Salem, I think, they've done, after they lost, they've done nothing but pretty much win 50-7
right.
Since then. And let me tell you, Snake River was not a bad team. Snake River in person, they had so many injuries this year, but they were big. Snake River is a much bigger team than I would have thought live in person, and Sugar's pretty big too. But I mean, Sugar is clicking on all cylinders right now. I think they just have too many weapons. I just can't see it being a low scoring game this time. And that one's in the dome too, right? Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yeah, and being inside, weather's not going to be a factor.
Right.
Sugar also plays a lot of games at ICCU Dome. They feel very comfortable there. I think it works in their favor, not having any conditions to make it, if it's cold
Athletes,
or
right?
wet. Yeah,
Just
yeah.
let your athletes play.
Yeah, the turf doesn't lie. Like, you can run fast and hit hard, and that's what Sugar did. And I think, yeah, man, Kimberly's had a great season, but I just don't see Sugar going down right now. I think
Yeah.
I think it'll be real interesting on the other half of that bracket, Homedale and Weiser, who comes out of that one. I think that game's going to be very well contested. But I just don't feel like they're going to have a problem this weekend. I mean, it could be close, but I feel like they're going to pull away at some point in that game and never look back. Like they're digging a hole. They're the diggers. They're just digging. They're not looking back.
And Sugar Kimberly kicks off at 8:15, Sean, like you said, at the ICCU Dome. But the game is on Thursday. So, a shorter week, because I think they played on Saturday.
No, they played Friday.
They played Friday. Okay, so they only lost one day of practice. But so they played Thursday, 8:15 kickoff at the ICCU Dome. Idaho Sports will be there broadcasting. It'll be audio only, and that'll be Lance Taylor and Leif Morrison on the call. It should be really fun broadcast. And we'll see if Sugar does what you say they're going to do. I would agree with you. I think Sugar is going to take this one no problem from Kimberly.
And Sugar didn't really have to play their starters really the third or fourth quarter.
They were down by half.
Pretty much they played a little bit in the third quarter, but fourth quarter is pretty much all different unit in there, and so they'll be well rested and prepared. And Kimberly's coming off an overtime win over Fruitland, 27-26. So I think the turnaround is probably going to be more difficult for Kimberly, but they've done nothing but the same thing as win a bunch of games all year as well. So it should be a good one.
And then finally, Aberdeen Westside. We talked about these two teams already, Sean, but last time they played was October 18th. Westside won 14-12. They play this weekend once again, but this time the stakes are a little bit higher. It's the semifinals. Westside Aberdeen, 7 p.m. at the ICCU Dome. Paul Kingsbury and I are going to be on that call. Sean, let's make a prediction. I guess you already did. You called Westside. Anything else about that game?
Nope.
Okay.
Pirates, baby. And then I'll be wrong, but I mean, whatever. Picking against Westside in the playoffs is like going to Vegas and just betting on black.
Yeah, Westside Pirates will probably take this one, but man, again, Aberdeen Tigers, I got to give them some love. They've been a lot of fun to watch, and teams just don't score on them. And I'll be really excited to see. I'm very interested to see if they can stop Westside's offense, their rushing attack. And then finally, Butte versus Sagerman, the 8-man Prepcast. They did a great job before we hopped on here. They went deep into Butte County, Hagerman. Is there any way? Obviously, there's a way, but I just don't see Butte County losing this game, Sean.
Yeah, I mean, Hagerman won earlier in the season, October 18th, 30-14. But I mean, Hagerman's having a phenomenal season, and they went on it, and they've got all these players. But Razor Duke from Butte, I like Butte, and I think this is the case where you get a second shot at a team.
Exactly.
And if you're a Butte County, you've circled this rematch again. Like, yeah, we want this game. Hagerman, I mean, they've played well all season, but I feel like at this time of year, after last year for Butte County, this is a game that I see them getting a win in.
Yeah, they lost one game against Hagerman, 30-14, back in October 18th. You lose that game, and I think the joke was the team that played Butte County afterwards. Let me find that really fast. Was it Grace who played Butte County afterwards? So, I can't remember, but anyway, the point was, oh, thanks for beating up Butte County. Or maybe it was for a different team. So maybe it was for a different team. Point is, Butte County lost that game. That was probably the best thing that could have happened to them. They lose to Hagerman, and they turn around and stomp Grace. They stomp Rimrock in the playoffs last week, 72-21. I think this game against Hagerman, they wanted Hagerman, they got Hagerman. This is Butte County Pirates' chance to put them away in a bigger stakes matchup. I'm liking Butte County Pirates in this game as well. But hey, that's why you play the game, right, Sean? You never know what's going to happen. Westside, Aberdeen, Butte County, Hagerman, they both get rematches, or also Sugar, Salem, Kimberly. All three of these games are going to be rematches. You play the game, and you'll see if the team can beat that same team twice in a row.
Yeah, I mean, and you felt that early in the season that these, I think everyone even said it, and that you could see these teams playing later in the playoffs, and sure enough, it happened. And when you get these rematches and things, me being a coach, it becomes such a coaching thing. There's no surprises. Both teams know who their players are, what they have to do. But how do you game plan? How do you change things?
Right.
That second time around in football, sometimes you never get a second chance, right? To play a team. Just that's how football works. So to get that chance, I think you really got to look at the coaching. And I love the coaching of Tyler Richens at Sugar.
Yeah.
I think he's gonna find all the loopholes he needs. So yeah, they should be incredible.
And to that point, Sam Thorngren at Butte County, such a phenomenal coach, really good dude. It's been a pleasure, Sean, with you and sometimes without you, but you and I have been all across East Idaho from Butte County, all the way to Aberdeen, broadcasting these games on IdahoSports.com. We have the wonderful privilege to meet all these coaches and meet the players, meet the fans. And man, a lot of these coaches are so good, including Sam Thorngren and a lot of these East Idaho coaches. So East Idaho fans out there, be grateful for the coaches we have. They're a lot of really good dudes and a great support system that they provide to these young men. We're just super lucky out here in East Idaho. And, the tennis coaches are pretty good as well.
Yeah. And I mean, that's a great lead in to our ending, right?
Right.
Like where we're going to be at this weekend. Well, we're going to be at games with a great coach, right? Lane Kirkland's going to be joining me and Joel a Friday night at the Dome for some 8-man football. So we'll have Tri-Valley Dietrich, which, man, I saw Tri-Valley last week, and this game is this is a game I'd circle anywhere, and I think it'll be really good. And then we'll do Garden Valley Cary again, after that game. So those are the two I'll be at with Joel and the greatest coach ever, according to Paul Kingsbury, Kirkland. So I'm excited to get those going. And for me and Joel, it's, they probably are like, these guys don't know anything about 8-man football. We got to get an expert in there, right?
Yeah.
And I mean, I did some games. I did one last week, and but 8-man football is so much fun, and everything's like one play from being a touchdown, right? One missed tackle, one thing is a touchdown. It's really exciting to see, and it's fast inside. So those are the games I'll be at. Joel?
Yeah, definitely. And then I'll be Minico Skyline with Paul Kingsbury the next day after hanging out with Sean and Lane. We got Minico Skyline at 1 p.m., Firth Deckel at 4 p.m., and then Westside Aberdeen at 7 p.m. That'll be Paul Kingsbury and I, going back and forth in those games, broadcasting those games for all of you out there in internet land. And all these games are going to be on IdahoSports.com. They're going to be audio, so audio only, no video. But that Hillcrest game, we've already mentioned, Lakeland Hillcrest at Hillcrest, 7 p.m. on Friday night. That's going to be video. That's going to be kind of our Gem State game of the week. We're going to have a couple guys doing the play-by-play color. We're going to have a producer, a number of cameras. Going to be really sweet. But yeah, Sean, back to kind of our games. Tri-Valley Dietrich, Garden Valley Cary is going to be a blast with Lane Kirkland. And then finally, Minico, Skyline, Firth, Declo, Westside, Aberdeen. Those games are going to be Saturday. The games you already mentioned before are Friday night. Going to be a great weekend. I don't know how many games that is. 1, 2, 3, 4, 9, 10, about 13, 14 games all broadcasted on IdahoSports.com. It's pretty awesome to be able to bring those games mostly free, and then they're all going to be live.
Yeah, it's get your popcorn, nice soft drink, and buckle in at the ICC U-Dome this weekend. I mean, Friday night's going to be 8-man, fantastic football, and then Saturday you're just just park it in there and get watch a few games. And if you can't be there, we'll have them. If you're there, a lot of people turn on your phone and listen. I'm sure Matt Harris, I would imagine, will be there PAing. So
Definitely.
there'll be a lot. There'll be a lot of good games. It's semifinals. What more do you want?
Yeah, 100%. That's where we are going to be this weekend. Join us, whether in person at ICCU Dome or on IdahoSports.com. That's where you're going to find all of the games. It should be a phenomenal week. And Sean, we'll be back next week for more East Idaho Prepcast to break down the semifinal matchups from East Idaho and the final matchups.
Yeah, and girls basketball will have started.
And then we'll start talking about girls basketball. I can't believe it's here. You are PAing a basketball game next Saturday, right?
No, this Saturday.
Oh, this Saturday.
Yeah, so I have my daughter plays basketball, then I'm PAing basketball. That's why I'm like book solid Saturday, so I can't broadcast. But yeah, basketball starts, and I went into the office at Century today. And someone's like, there's a game Saturday. I'm like, what? And I can't believe there's already a game. It's going to be Century, Idaho Falls, 2:00 start time
right on.
at the Snake Pit. And I'll have to warm up the vocal cords. They didn't have the starting lineups for me, but I talked to Coach Fleshman and I told her who I thought it was. And I was pretty close. So,
okay, nice.
Yeah, right I like to get all those names right and stuff like that. But yeah, I can't believe it's basketball already. And boys tryouts, I think are this week. This weekend is when boys tryouts can start. So, man, we're going to football. We'll have a week of football, and then it's going to be basketball. And me and Joel both like the basketball.
We sure do. It's something that we actually play. But we love football. Love watching football. I've played a lot of football in the backyard and flag. But yeah, we never cracked the pads, if you will. But basketball, yeah, a lot of fun to talk about. Broadcast. Looking forward to a lot of basketball coming up. Sean, that's going to do it for us here. It's been a good night. We went just over an hour, so not too bad. Despite the technical difficulties, we made it out alive. For Sean Kane, the man of the hour, I'm Joel Richardson saying be excellent to each other. Have a great night. Have a great week. Enjoy all the games this weekend, and we'll see you next week for another edition of the East Idaho Prepcast on IdahoSports.com.